Okay, all right. So welcome everyone. Today we're going to start our series, which is going to cover different topics. Okay, so and this is the first one that we're going to cover in year one of week one, and the name of the topic here is the Lebombo Bone. Lunar tracking, menstruation-based calendars, and the dawn of mathematical calculation. And the subtitle is The Genesis of Logic and Exact Sciences, African Origins of Mathematical and Cosmic Order. And this presentation is brought to you by the African Continuum. All right. And here, right in front of you, you have the table of contents. As you can clearly see, I will take you through the table of contents quickly. In one, we have the discovery and archaeological context of the topic. In two, we have the physical description and the dating. In three, we're going to cover the lunar calendar, hypothesis, cosmic order, and mathematical cognition. In number four, we're going to dive deeper in comparative analysis, the Ishango bone, and the broader African mathematical tradition. The next point is going to present to you a critical analysis, well balanced. Now, this point is very important as well. Here it will cover debates, limitations, and scholarly caution on the topic and the different hypotheses and theses brought to you. In the next one, we'll be covering the African origins of mathematical and cosmic order as a synthesis. And next, we are going to cover the verified sources and references used as foundations and fundamental pillars of this presentation. And we're going to finish with a conclusion entitled For the Purpose of the Conversation Toward a New Genesis Narrative. Next, we have our important notice. This analysis is based on verified archaeological, anthropological, and mathematical sources. All interpretive claims regarding the different main ideas, philosophies, and ideologies presented in this material are going to be presented to you as hypotheses rather than established facts. Now, there is a reason for that. It is to keep this material relevant in the context of academia and different streams and schools of thought. All right, next we'll go with number one, discovery and archaeological context. Now, before diving deep into this presentation, I would like to maybe share with you the foundation of such materials. Yeah, for years, different people from Africa and African descendants have been complaining about the inaccuracy, or rather the distortions of different materials presented to them in academia, in universities, books, even independent learning materials seems to be one-sided to a certain extent. Yeah, so the purpose of this material is to bring a little bit of African perspective to the conversation beyond what is usually thought and discussed in conversations. So let's go with the first one here about the discovery and archaeological context of the Lebombo Bone. It's very important to talk about it because it stands as one of humanity's most profound archaeological discoveries, a tangible bridge to the cognitive origins of mathematics, timekeeping, and cosmic observation. Now, this artifact was found in the 1970s during excavations led by different archaeologists. You can see the names here in the material. Now, I would like to highlight one thing here, right? So the word you would usually find in books, academic books, would be discovered, which, if not careful, tends to portray the discoverer almost as the inventor. Yeah, I mean, if you find something that belongs to someone else, it's not yours. Number one. Number two, if at all you get any glory from your discovery, it should come to you as an act of gratitude, not a glory that is usually given to the inventors. Okay, so this is the one point I would like to highlight here so far. So different archaeologists such as Peter McGregor, and it was discovered in South Africa at a border cave, also known as Lebombo Cave, a rock shelter located in the western Lebombo Mountains on the border between South Africa and Eswatini, formerly Swaziland. Now, Border Cave itself represents one of the longest continuous archaeological records in southern Africa, spanning from the Middle Stone Age through the Iron Age, with the deposits dating back approximately 227,000 years. The cave is situated at an elevation of approximately 600 meters above sea level, overlooking the Fongolo River floodplain, approximately 82 kilometers from the Indian Ocean coast. Now, it's very important to note the date here. We're talking about 227,000 years, right? 227,000 years. Now, for most Africans, when we're thinking about the history of Africa or Africans, it's usually around 1950s, 1960s, because that's where you had either the independence of your country as an African, or better, some struggles, right? The fight. But hey, hold on. 227,000 years. Yeah, let it sink in. All right, the next one, the Lebombo bone was recovered from layer 15, 1 base lower, within the cave's early later Stone Age deposit, a stratigraphic level containing advanced lithic assemblages, including micro blade platelet, bold stones, and bipolar cores, right, alongside other organic artifacts there. So that's for the discovery. It's very important that your take here should be to understand that as an African or an African descendant, your history is older than the 1960s, the 1950s, the struggles, right? The independence fight, the killings, the slave trades as well. That's the take you should have from here. Next, we're going to talk about the physical description and dating. The artifact consists of a small piece of baboon fibula, calf bone, measuring approximately 64 to 77 millimeters in length, about 3 inches. Incised with 29 clearly defined notches along one edge. A microscopic analysis confirms these notches were deliberately cut by human hands. Microscopic analysis confirms these notches were deliberately cut by human hands using several distinct cutting edges, including intentional modification rather than natural wear or decorative scratching. Yeah, so here it's very important here because that's a bone, right? First of all, it's a bone. So some might argue that it's probably not the work of a human being, a person. Could have been just a hazard of nature. Things happen in nature, right? Now here the key idea is to understand that the bone we're going to discuss throughout this presentation was actually deliberately cut. There was an intention, there was a purpose for the cutting. Okay, and throughout the activity of cutting, modifications were made, which means whoever was doing the cutting truly and really had a goal, an intention, a purpose for the tool. All right, now radiocarbon dating has placed the bone at an astonishing age of approximately 44,200 to 43,000 years before present. Again, this is older than the 1960s, with the independence of many African countries, the struggles, older than most of what you know about the history of Africa. Calibrated based on 24 radiocarbon tests and Bayesian modeling analysis. 24 of them, not one, not two, not three, not seven. Yeah, to make sure that it was not a mistake, 24 of them were done. So the question should not be at this point in time about the validity of the existence or the age of the artifact, because 24 tests is more in number than what is mostly done when it comes to checking artifacts from other countries. Yeah. So 24 of them. Earlier assessment from the 1970s provided a more conservative estimate of approximately, here you see what happened here, of 37,000 before present. Now here we've removed, so many years, but again the goal here to say more conservative. The good thing is you have the two perspectives, right? After 24,000 tests, right? So the estimation in age was between 44,000 to 43,000, and then later on in 19